The time is 6:31. The time is 6:31. I'd like to call this regular Board of Education meeting to order. The first item on our agenda for this evening is the roll call for those Board of Education members who are present. Trustee Goodrich, could you perform the roll call, please?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Gainsley. Here. Trustee Schindler. Here. Trustee Fields. Trustee Townsend. Here. Trustee Goodrich, I'm here. Vice President Lee. Here. President Hawkins.
Here. We have all Board of Education members present. The next item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to join us in reciting of the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on the agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education accept the agenda as presented.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to item 4, which is achievements, awards, and recognition. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. We are so excited this month to have so many things to be appreciative during this month with our awards and recognitions. And so we'll start off with our points of pride. And so I see so many people in the audience with our points of pride. And I know that the high school is in the house today. I know our principal is on the way, but we see as she is walking in the door, and we're slowly, as she is moving fast, we see a lot of the staff here in support. And I'm going to let her take a breath. I know she has a presentation, but we're going to have Dr. Chelsea Harris-Hugan stand, and she has a wonderful, wonderful group of people with her, our wonderful YCHS staff that is coming alongside her. She's going to take a wonderful breath, though. Our amazing high school principal is coming. You take a breath, you're okay? Yes. With their points of pride.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. And always
a common issue with
supporting us in our school. All of our folks here. We brought some gifts for everybody and passing those out in preparation for our senior clap out union style for shirt. So everyone has one of those. So welcome. I'm going to briefly talk about some of our points of pride. I've seen almost all of you in our building supporting us, being there. So I know you know the work that we do, but this is our time to brag and showcase. So first, just kind of supporting our social emotional learning with our students. We have our clothes closet, which really fosters our students that need clothes. People from the community also come in as well. We've got a beautiful Zen room if you've ever been down in this Kimmy's area downstairs. Beautiful, quiet, EMU just donated, $800 to our clothes closet, the social work department. So, good things happening there. STEM and dual enrollment in D3C, just some points, Digital Divas Conference. Our STEM students attended. It allows them to become more immersed in STEM-based experiences. We have currently 54 students enrolled, dual enrolled, which is where we were in years past, the last year. And we have 2 students that will graduate as 5th years in just a little bit here. Our next point of pride is our Grizzly Robotics. Our Grizzly Robotics team, 66, has students. Many of these pictures are students that went to WCC for STEAM Week. They hosted a 3D printing and button making table at the YC2 Maker Fair and had a successful and fun event bowling. So some of those pictures of them bowling, being in that Maker Fair, but just some wonderful dedicated students and staff that support them. Next we have our culinary and bakery science and Crow Start competition, 3rd for cake baking and decorating. Skills USA, Ellie took 9th in the state for bakery pastry. Nassau Hunt, we all sent students to Nassau, 5th in the world. Woo! A tribute to our chef and Chef Deanna and oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. He actually cooked for me earlier, something I never had. So thank you for that. And a total of $37,000 in scholarships. And the miles that our students have traveled this year is 4,142 miles, visited 8 cities and 2 states. So putting some miles on, definitely. Points of pride for our collision and repair technology. Collision repair regional competition for Skills USA, won 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place in the regionals at Oakland Community College. Skills USA state competition, 6 students competed at the state level. We had 2 students finish on the podium with bronze medals. So definitely a feather in Mr. Keebler and Rabiel, who's a new person on board with us that we actually hired and was a student last year. So talk about growing your own, we're actually doing that. So our next is automotive repair technology. We participated in Automotive Education Day in conjunction with Detroit Autorama. Some of those students actually went to Toyota Fame Night, and we have 1 student that actually has a internship with Toyota that will be starting this summer. So nice job there. Hot and steam, points of pride, CTE certified this year. So that's a feather in all of our caps for all of the work that we've done, especially Mr. Burnett for pushing and working with Dr. Rowe to help support getting that done for us. So amazing. Our podcasters have built their own studio in YCS, has some amazing podcasting. If you've ever listened to it, our students are incredibly talented with the work that they're doing. They received a 61C grant for $16,000 or $18,000 bucks, where they were able to buy state-of-the-art equipment that will allow them to be mobile during our arts beats and needs. A lot of you or some of you were interviewed. That was some of the materials that kept them a little bit mobile. Again, CTE. Next up, cosmetology. They are currently taking appointments. I want everybody to know that. They are really good, and they want everybody to come and see who they are and what they can do. So stop on by, make an appointment, drop in. In this program, they haven't competed yet, as of yet, but we know that that is coming. Many of them have talked about competing in the hair show that's coming in Chicago for next year, so they're super excited about that. Upon completion of this program, all of the students will be able to go on to take their state board to become a licensed cosmetologist. One wonderful thing about this program that a lot of cosmetology programs don't have is she does a module on entrepreneurship and what that looks like in the different fields within cosmetology. So just an amazing program for our young ladies, and they are doing an amazing job. Manufacturing, whew, got a whole lot of money. I think it's almost $230,000 currently for SME education. Our students will be using state-of-the-art brand new equipment that's slowly coming in to rebuild that CTE area, make it their own, and really get immersed into the SME curriculum. Some of our staff incentives, okay, we really like to act a little silly at YCHS. We've got Teacher of the Month, we do potlucks, add-in parking for this week. Thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh, for giving up your parking spot to the teacher that won that. We do Jeans Day every Friday, afterward get-togethers, just to name some of the incentives and some of the things we do to just kind of keep us together as a family. We did a video, dress and act like a student. Some of you may have seen that on social media. That was probably one of our best days because the kids didn't know what was actually happening. Our IB is our newest addition. We're super excited about that, super excited about the work that's happening. We have hired our own Ms. Laquita Brown for the IB coordinator position. She is diligently working with Turquoise Neo to get that program up and running. We're super excited. We've got some training coming up in June for our 10th grade teachers, which is where we'll launch that and then move into 11th and 12th grade for that next semester of the 25-26 school year. Here we go. Botany and horticulture, which is on tap to be CTE certified, hopefully by September. That's our goal. Students in botany are learning to grow indoors using the hydroponic grow tower, which is that white tower that you see there. Chef's looks amazing. I was over there today, and it is beautiful. There are all kinds of plants growing out, and I know Chef's plan for next year is for them to actually use their own herbs and vegetables that they grow. So that's amazing for them. Simi's work that we're currently doing. We're currently building our outdoor classroom out in the Grizzly Forest. So if you're ever out there or wondering what the kids are doing back there, the manufacturing folks actually did a markup of building, and then we've got our Simi's kids that are actually back there building that. Super excited about that piece. 10th graders touring, our CTE programs are growing like crazy. We want our 10th graders to really be a part of it, know what it's all about, know what they're doing, where their passions lie. So this year, all of our 10th graders were able to take field trips and get to talk to, do hands-on work materials, and see and study alongside some of our older students, just to get them involved and get them to complete the application for acceptance, because it is an application process to be accepted into our CTE. Next, and
Go to the next slide.
okay. Oh, okay. And there you go. All right. This is the podcast that we're done by. I'll talk. That's all it is for you. What happened? For you? Why are you enrolling in a brand new manufacturing program as a 10th grader going into the 11th grade for next year? Hey, good morning, Delaware. Can you tell me a little bit about how graduating from YPHS this May 30th is going to help you with your future endeavors? Why do you give every day come to our news and our broadcasting and all of our announcements every morning? Well, you know, I'm so glad. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. So that whole production was made by one of our podcasting students. In the editing and music and the timing, so it's kind of the work that they do and how cycle they are. The young man that said he had anxiety was the person that actually did all of that. So you really think about how you come out of his shell to do all that. And then have my team step up because if any questions that you have, they are the experts in what they do. So they'll be able to answer
Question. So I see that there was points of pride, for, D3C3. And, what updates do you have from there? I know you said you had 50, I think, enrolled in dual enrollment. Is that correct? All right. And so what updates do we have for that program?
For the D3C program.
Mhm.
Right now, we are working with, getting kids enrolled for the fall. We're working with, one senior from ACE, a couple of students from, another senior from that. And right now, we're just basically working to get people enrolled make it better as far as, not shooting kids, but getting kids to see the benefits, not just going to kids that are, or kids that are, so, as far as being on campus.
So what do you feel is the hindrance in getting people engaged in the program?
Just need kids to understand the benefits of it. I think like, they, yeah, but I think in a different way about it. Finding the right type of student for it. Some students test well, but, just don't see the benefits of it. Some students don't test well as far as academics, but really want it. That makes sense.
Thank you.
I have a question. You also have a slide for the special ed and graduation. Can you tell me, are there any special ed, like in your cosmetology programs or any other programs? If so, how do you accommodate this? Okay.
Being inclusive of students varying different needs is very, very important to us. And we can explain things, especially us with CT education. You know, we are originally from industry. We're not originally educators. We came into this because we love it. So throughout our entire careers, we've worked with many, many people of varying degrees of skill. So we can explain things 10, 20, 30, 40 different times, different ways, to try to bring everybody underneath the umbrella. In fact, with Skills USA, which is a CTSO I'm very passionate for, we have students in competitions that are only for students with IEPs or 504 plans, to try to bring as many people under that big tent of CTE as possible. Oh, CTSO, yeah, sorry, industry jargon. That is a career technical student organization. So every CTE program within the state of Michigan is required to be part of a CTSO. Skills USA is by far the world's largest, and the country's largest. There's well over 1 million people who have either been in Skills or currently in Skills.
Okay, thank you.
I was just wondering if we could get a really quick introduction to your team. I know we've met some of them, many of them before, but it would be nice to see all the folks who've turned out tonight.
Well, good evening. My name is Rick Alvarado. Jeff Human, work with you. Over and I'm math teacher, well, a science teacher who teaches math this year. And also oversee the early middle college coordinator for the middle college and oversee Grizzly Robotics. I'm Carlos Ford. I'm an English language learning teacher, and I'm also the 10th grade SLC. Shafir Gardner. I teach culinary arts and baker science.
Thank you so much, and thanks so much for being here tonight.
Other board questions? Excellent points of pride. This makes us proud. Yes. Huge thanks to you, Dr. Hugan, Harris Hugan, and your team, for being here tonight and for sharing all these wonderful updates about what's happening at the high school. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, you're fine. Thank you so much. Just as a reminder, class Friday.
12-ish.
They may get done a little bit faster. We'll flat out come down and
Let's give them another round of applause. Next, that takes us to the adoption of the resolution for staff appreciation. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. May is an exciting month in the field of education. We appreciate our staff each and every day, yet we pause to give thanks during this month especially. Starting with the 1st of May, it was School Principal Day. And so we say School Principal Day, yet we know it's all our administrators that we celebrate. So on May 1st, we paused to celebrate School Principal Day on May 1st. Today, this week, was Teacher Staff Appreciation Week, May 6th through 10th. On this last Friday was School Lunch Hero Day on Friday, May 3rd, and then School Nurse Day on May 8th. And so the resolution was, whereas the Ypsilanti Community Schools principals, teachers, staff, school lunch staff, school nurses continue to change the lives of children every day. Their immense work and impact moves us beyond words. And the YCS principals, teachers, staff, school lunch staff, school nurses have done even more to continue education with in-person learning in virtual classrooms, all to ensure every student has the tools they need to reach their full potential. And YCS administrators, teachers, staff, school lunch staff, school nurses fill many roles as listeners, explorers, role models, motivators, and mentors. And YCS administrators, teachers, staff, school lunch staff, school nurses continues to influence us long after our school days are only memories. And the administrators, teachers, and school lunch staff and school nurses of Ypsilanti Community Schools spend countless of hours preparing lessons, supporting and guiding staff, preparing healthy meals, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service. And our school district recognizes and supports its administrators, teachers, staff, school lunch staff, school nurses in educating the of this great learning community. Therefore be it resolved that the Ypsilanti Community Schools Board of Education proclaim May 1st to be School Principal Day, May 6th through 10th, 2024 to be Teacher Staff Appreciation Week, May 3rd, 2024 to be School Lunch Hero Day, and May 8th to be School Nurse Day. And be it further resolved that the Ypsilanti Community Schools Board of Education strongly encourage all members of our community to join in personally expressing appreciation to our principals, teachers, staff, school lunch staff, school nurses for their dedication and devotion to their work.
Thank you, Dr. Zachary Ross. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President, Lee move that the Board of Education adopt a resolution of recognition proclaiming May 1st, 2024 to be the School Principal Day, May 6th through 10, 2024 to be Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week, May 3, 2024 to be School Lunch Hero Day, and May 8th, 2024 to be School Nurse Day.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by Trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. A huge congratulations and thanks to all of our principals, our teacher staff, nurses, administrators for doing all they do for Ypsilanti Community Schools. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you. Next, that takes us to our first action item this evening. We are on number 5 under Student Affairs, and that is the acceptance of a field trip request from Ypsilanti Community High School. Is there a motion at this time?
Field trip for YCHS to Cedar Point on May 13th, 2024.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion? Thank you. Supported by trustee Gaisley. Any discussion on this item? Thank you. I do too. Okay, a motion has been made by trustee Fields, supported by trustee Gaisley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to our first presentation for this evening, which is our FTE staffing projection and talent management report. Oh, I apologize. I skipped over the ACE field trip. We'll get to the presentation in just a moment. We'll go back. Is there a motion at this time to accept the field trip request for Ypsilanti Community High School, ACE, and Ypsilanti Community Middle School to Africa? Oh, go ahead, Vice President Lee.
Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education approve the field trip for YCHS, ACE, YCMS to Accra, Ghana, Africa, from June 28th to July 5th, 2024.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Schindler. Any discussion on this item?
I would just like to say, I see there's, I believe, 15 kids, 12 kids going, and then there's 5 chaperones. Okay. Keep in mind, if you need another chaperone, I'm available. I have my passport. I can get my shots, and I can be ready at the drop of the hat. Okay? And I get, no, you guys are laughing. I'm for real. Okay? So keep in mind, and I will be willing to write whatever the students have to write. I will do that. Okay? So I'm ready.
All right.
All right? So just keep that in mind.
We got you covered.
Okay?
All right. Yes.
Just to add,
No.
I would love it
No,
if someone
seriously.
from the high school would, if there's anyone in the audience that can speak to it potentially, just because I think it's a really exciting opportunity. I love
Dr. Harris Hugan, is there anyone who you'd like to call up to speak about the field trip?
It's an opportunity for our students to go and discover their, most of them, heritage roots, where civilization started, some of those different things. When we talked about it with the students, it was looking and visiting the slave days, they did some of the villages that are there, but really immersed into the culture and learning about a place completely outside of the world. But then an opportunity that many of our students and adults have never had before. So it's amazing to offer that to our students and just give them that experience.
And can I offer, the person who started it is actually on the phone. So can I offer, Paul Billings is on the line, and it actually came, I started this with him in 2017. Can you explain a little bit more background? And you can see the picture in 2017 for the first class. Let's give a little background. He's the chief of one of the villages. You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Okay, thank you. Paul Billings,
You're still muted.
still muted.
These students' lives were transformed. I've seen these students' lives be transformed, watching them continue to go. They actually have it as a credit in their schools in both Muskegon area and in Orlando. They've now had it as a credit in their schools. Through their experience, they go to the University of Accra. They have a naming ceremony. You can continue to talk about what you've done as the research. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now? I'm hoping you can hear me.
Now we can hear you.
Okay, great. It's an honor to be able to present to Ypsilanti Public Schools. Since 2017, we've taken over 25 kids to Ghana, West Africa, from particularly Muskegon Heights, Michigan, and Orlando, Florida, where I'm a chief in Ghana, West Africa. It's an educational journey. We visit the slave castles, we visit the last bath, we go to the Du Bois Center, Kwame Nkrumah in Independence Park, we go to church, we visit hospitals, we visit schools. These kids walk away with a whole different perspective of Africa. We spend most of the time inside of the city, but we do spend a significant time out in the village where they get the chance to interact with kids whose average income is only $600 a year, where I'm a chief at. And so it's an honor to be able to have hopefully Ypsilanti kids to join us on this trip. I got my start in Ypsilanti and in the music field. I went to college in Ypsilanti and I worked at the prison there. And both of my kids were born in Ypsilanti, so this is good to be able to have some kids from the school district. If you have any questions that you might have, I'm interested in answering.
He said he has, if you have questions.
It is. And there's a lot of information on page 2 about the learning objectives and the learning outcomes, and the itinerary is in our packet and in our board packet electronically. Those of us who have a hard copy. This is an outstanding, amazing opportunity. So. Yeah.
And that's what I want to know, how they. Great idea. Yeah, how do you come up with this beautiful idea? And then where are the kids are, where are they, like what areas? What areas? Oh, yeah. The original one, I can tell you, 2017 were my students, but I don't know. Who are the rest of your students?
Depending on which year, and I can't hear the people that's talking there. I can only hear the ones who have a mic. But for this year, we have 4 different school districts. Orange County Public Schools. A little back history. I'm a founder of 3 radio stations. I run 2 in Michigan, 1 in Florida. These are nonprofit community-based radio stations with an educational mission. So Orange County Public Schools in Orlando, Florida. We have several kids from there. Muskegon Heights Public Schools, Muskegon Public Schools, Mona Shores Public Schools, and West Michigan Christian. A lot of different school districts represented. We do have a couple of judges from Muskegon County going with us on this journey, 2 circuit court judges and the county clerk from Muskegon County. And we do have a couple of dignitaries from Orlando going with us. Last year, we had a teacher from Apopka High School.
It really didn't answer. That really didn't. Okay, yeah. So I hear your explanation. So I was asking about the kid. You know, like on the pictures we have, is that just a combination of different school districts?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's correct. Okay.
And it is, as I was reading, the students are
The first, we wanted to identify students, asked for it already. And open it up to some of our other students, or just identify, who they are as a learner, what are some of their aspirations and dreams moving forward, where they want to study, and just, academic for sure, social and emotional adjustment, to see if that's something that they could handle, being for those, number of days. And then just really interviews, talking to the students, and just kind of getting a feel for the students that we have. So we have, so what was something you put out? Well, come up with you. Yeah, both. So we asked who would be interested, so we 62. Yeah. And it was super quick, like within 10 minutes, they were like, oh, no truck, people, kids in the hallway, like, God, you hear me? I'm going. So, just that, and then just kind of narrowing it down. Some of our students are doing internships during that time. We have one student that will be, I believe it's Washington, starting the 15th or 16th of May, all the way until August 5th on an internship. She was a young lady that talked about using tutoring, so she'll be there. So some of those students were kind of weeded out just by the timing of them, you know, what the summer is, and some of the students have jobs and like they can't take that time off work. So just kind of digging a little bit deeper, kind of helps us to form a picture of who would be the actual candidate, and then having those discussions. Interview with our yes, between the three schools, the principals all work together. Yeah, it wasn't. No, I just one of the process. I've never heard it, so I think it's a great opportunity to do. So I just wonder how. You know, yeah. This is something else. Well, I mean, that they maybe never had before, but just being able to one of the goals actually look at is to take two of our podcasts, they can do right there interviews and kind of create like a digital movie of our experience. That we can share that with all of everybody here and in our schools, so that in the event that we do this next year, we've already sparked that interest.
Great.
Because typically it's the free trip to Africa, so then you do the fundraising, you start the next year with people starting the year before, like, it's the same kind of idea of doing it with the NESB, like how you start, so then you start early, you do the fundraising, you do, so the goal is to start the awareness early, you start the group that with this group teaching the next group. They would come back, that's what some of the activities you see on there, where they would start talking to the next group. So when we went in 17, they started talking to the next group early. They started preparing and started doing some fundraising, started doing things at Culver's. And so it started, you have to start, you fund the first group, but then the next groups each year, you'll fund it, so that it will just keep rolling, and it kind of rolls on its own, and the students are the ones who share about the experience, not it should be student-led, not adult. Right, no, that's what I want to hear from. Yeah. You're right, you are so right. So that's kind of how it ends up being the free trip to Africa.
It's amazing. Any other board questions? comments? Thank you, Dr. Harris, excuse me. So a motion was made by Vice President Lee, supported by Trustee Schindler. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries. Have a fantastic time. Next, that takes us to our first presentation for this evening. We have two. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Zachary Ross to introduce both of those presentations for this evening.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time of the year, according to the board report, we typically come to you and look at our staffing projections from the talent management report by our human resource director, Sue McCarty. So she will be bringing you where we are at this point so that we can look towards 2024-25 at where we are with our numbers in each building. So she has started that process, and she'll be sharing with you where we are on our current journey. Ms. McCarty, thank you.
Dr. Jeffrey Ross, I'm giving the annual FTE projections for 24-25. So as we look at these projections, I'm kind of giving you a roadmap here of where we are. So I'm gathering data and from students, staff, local resources, our school, input from the building principal, that previous SPEs from last year, so that we are right here in the planning stage. So here's our planning stage, and I'm going to present to you where we believe we are, and that is a point of time as of April 9th. How teacher staffing and where we think our needs are. At the end of the presentation, I also have some wants and different staff that principals would like to see. And once we get here at this point, I'm going to move to the finance director, make sure we have all of the adequate funds for that, and then move back to the building and say, okay, all of these FTEs are here. So kind of reiterating that here with the slides, kind of telling you where we got this data from. And then you say, what is considered for the final recommendation? The first thing is we always consider what are the IEP needs? What resources do we have with Title I and other behavior specialists and that type of thing. We also are considering, especially at our secondary levels, for proper certification for the area. So it requires more staff. Because you have to be certified, obviously, in math, teach math, and science, and teach science. And then we look at the collective bargaining agreement. What did we agree upon these last 3 years? Where would the class sizes and what are the maximum? So with these projections, we're just using the maximum. And then we're looking also at partnership agreements with MDE, because those change them, especially at homes and aides. And then so it's jumping right into the buildings, it's going to jump right in. Having 120 and having 120 and they have to have 8 classrooms, the ratios there. In addition, we're kind of column on every building. The special education, the ELL, language, that's what SLP is, various coaches like instructional coaches, social climate coaches are all intervention column. And CBA where you're going to see classes. These projections for baby did not change, they're stabilized because we have not lost any students. Moving on to board, the board is somewhat down, but it balances out with other buildings. So looking at it, it does not change the ratio of FTEs that they do. And that's now they have the K1 program, they're going to be team next year, we're anticipating that this student population is gonna grow. There's gonna be many more students who want to come in as part of that new team. So their FTEs are stabilized well from last year. Looking at Perry, we have pretty much the same scenario as you have with Beatty and Ford, those 9 piece, and then we have K1. So Ford has K1 as well as Perry K1. They still have the same special art, science, PE, and then the multiple interventions that you see here. Their count is down slightly, but it varies every single day. Moving on to Erickson. Erickson is down a little bit now, but not the balance down. So up, Erickson's a little bit down, and it doesn't change the ratio that we need. We need 2 first grades, 3 fifth grades, and they also have the same part, which is library, PE, and science. Now, Erickson is our leader. Up 2 students today, but they've been up many more throughout the course of the year. They've introduced a Spanish immersion this year in the 2nd grade. And then next year, we will anticipate another FTE because it's 3rd grade Spanish. Looking at home, because we pulled out an ASB and an EI class. So we've been looking at staff. I mean, it's going to be and the special education. We met 2 ASB teachers. They said they were coming. We made them offers. They accepted. So fingers crossed. Have more ASB positions. Why is the population stays stable? Their needs still remain. 6 FTEs for special, 11.8 by 12, and interventions for total 7 FTEs in that. Looking at YC2S ratio is a little bit different, and this is what I was talking about in the beginning, where we have to have those content areas, because once you get into 6, 7, 8, we need those content areas regardless of numbers. Math, studies in that program. Their enrollment was up. Hopefully, as they continue to homeschool and the various other avenues that we still provide all of the services that we provide every other building that have the same specials. Added the SEL component this year in the Dragonfly. Right? Wait a minute. Dragonfly. Look. So that's just support. Mess. They have 400 this year. Projected to be about 469. They too will be adding IB. So we anticipate and then ACE is part of the partnership agreement, so they have some additional support there from the state. Those type of things. They're looking at about 180 next year. We're at about 191 now, 19, and then the graduated so they're actually YCHS at 545 students, so projecting about 572. They've had all of the things we saw today. Podcasting. They'll be at an IB. All kinds of new programs there, so we're anticipating the word gets out. That we are at a total of 431 or 432 FTE projected for next year. go forward with our IPs and and this is just, you know, why do we need this summary when we trying to post response? We're trying to we're collaborating every year with HR and in mind, but it's moving part. Try to keep in contact, like communicating on a regular basis. I mean, and some additional positions that the building principals have said. They would like some more building functions. All would recruiting them this year, they already get 2 substitutes that are assigned to the building every day. But they need a few more, flexibility is much. You're down to 1. So we're looking for a few more. They'd like some more behavior specialists or some more support. Looking for some more math and reading specialists and preventionists. Looking for resources. Nurses and health technicians, I think they're looking for, you know, some for classes, not for actual nurses. The classes each building has a classical nurse now or mental health specialist. Searching grants, Dr. Lopez, Mark, grants, everybody's doing grants. And then Spanish, that's the growing population, like CCL and Arabic. Population, and they're looking for specializing in those languages. And the new additional, as a newcomer, sort of like 30, 35 persons, they want to divide them out and have them so that we can have more flow. Because, you know, they don't stay there. They come in, they enter, and they go. But they're still at 30, 35 at any time. And additional social work for English language, and that's the biggest growing population in the district right now.
I have a question. Just so that I'm understanding, I noticed that some of the schools have a FTE for behavior. Is that in conjunction to what we are supposed to have with the program 180, or is that separate? Okay. And what's the title of that position? Just behavior specialist? Okay. Right, I see it's only, yeah, I just see it in ACE and in the middle school. Okay, and then for the schools that have ASD with support, I see that there's only 2 schools for that. So if a child needs that additional support, they have those 2 options?
Right now, because we didn't have staff, so what we ended up doing is kind of consolidating. And so as long as we can hire at an ASD class. If they were able to, they would need to program.
So each year we do that, the principals get together and they'll look at, so for example, even for our emotionally impaired classes, we'll say, who has the young class, who has the older class? And that's for all of our programs in special ed. And so each year for our emotionally impaired, cognitively impaired, any of our programs, we'll look at where they're housed so that they can be alongside our general ed population.
So I see these needs for staffing. Is this in addition to what we already need?
It is, it's what they would like. that they're building them. But the funding is tied to the FTEs and the flex department. Excellent. Ideally, there's additional.
Right, so we would need to, if the funds are there, we would need to already fill the vacant positions that are out there
Yes,
and then increase them. That's what, I just want to be clear, that's what the ask is.
yes.
Okay.
That's exactly that.
Trustee Daisley.
Thanks so much for this, Ms. McCarty. I was curious, I saw that the Spanish immersion is at Estabrook, and I know when the program was initially proposed, it was, Ford Holmes, but I didn't see a Spanish immersion at Holmes. So is the Spanish immersion now Ford Estabrook?
Yes. it is.
Okay.
It's on board.
And because Holmes is a partnership school, we don't want to put too much pressure at Holmes.
Understood. And they're also getting the STEM magnet program, so that'll be another magnet program at that school. Great. My other magnet program question is that, for the IB, I noticed there's an IB coordinator at the middle and high schools. Would the IB classes be taught by the same regular staff and they would just teach one section that is an IB unit? So it would, for example, if you're an ELA teacher, you would teach a non-IB class and an IB class. Is that, I'm just curious, like how that would work to incorporate the International Baccalaureate in the middle and high school programs.
Well, honestly, no.
Okay.
Because, Triple Meal is coordinating programs, but the actual coordinator for IBA. I mean, STEAM at home. Sorry. Or IBA,
Yeah,
sorry.
Thanks.
So there's actually coordinators. They are now currently working. Like, what's that look like? I don't know the actual.
Okay, yeah, I guess I was curious how those programs were gonna impact, if those programs were gonna impact our FTE count besides just the coordinator, or if there were specialized positions toward those.
Yeah, some of them are whole school
Mhm.
versus like in the secondary, their programs where they're gonna be specific classes, like when you see at the secondary, they're going to be the IB classes and courses starting at the high school.
Okay.
And they're gonna be taught by a teacher, a specific course. And then at the elementaries, like at Ford and Holmes, they're going to be like school-wide. And their Project Lead the Way. So they're gonna be a Project Lead the Way coordinator and a whole school-wide project-based learning activities throughout the day.
Thanks.
Any other board questions?
Yes, I do. I have one more question. Two. With the current FTE being at 431.46, I feel like this number was higher 3 years ago for some reason. Is there any way that you can, well, I'm pretty sure you can provide us just with what the FTE, I know you can't do it tonight, but what the FTE has been for the last 3 to 5 years, so we can see what that trend is? And also with these projections that or requests that the principals are asking for, what that equates to FTE increase. So then when we have a conversation about budget, what those numbers really look like overall. Okay.
From that side, less, obviously less. But the rest, as much as possible, yes. Okay.
Any other board questions? Thank you, Ms. McCarty. Next, that takes us to our hiring international teachers presentation. Dr. Zachary Ross.
Thank you, Madam President. Another idea coming again from Ms. McCarty. As we know, that hiring has been a challenge across the state of Michigan as well as other states. So we have asked for our partners to come in. Jason Hammond Garcia and his team from International Alliance Group will be presenting to you today. So I asked them to come. They've been working with districts across Michigan and other states, and our team from our EL team has been asking us since a full year for them to come to present to you. And after we've seen them work with some of our other colleagues across the state of Michigan, and we've heard them present to other boards, we've finally said, okay, let's listen. We've listened to them, and we think it's time to come to our board to present to you today. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hawkins, Madam President, and Superintendent Dr. Zachary Ross, the rest of the trustees and administration. Members of the audience, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's great to be back home in my home state of Michigan, even though we came from Phoenix, Arizona, and San Diego, California. Members with me here are Dr. Abraham Jimenez, our Chief Strategy Officer from San Diego, as well as Maestro Alejandro Martinez from Arizona as well. He's actually one of our teachers and is now my assistant, and so glad that they're able to be here with us today. I am so impressed and so excited about the students that are able to go to Ghana. Think of all the wonderful global competencies that are going to be required in that trip. It's fantastic. And I really like the questions there, Trustee Fields, about how do you pick the students that get to go? Because the point is, it's fantastic for that group of students that get to go. But what about all the other students that don't get to go? Well, one thing we can do in helping that is to bring the world to the classroom, including many teachers we have from Ghana, Africa, as well as teachers from Mexico, Latin America, and all around the world. We have a wonderful opportunity to help school districts with language programs, special education, as well as any other teaching position you may have through international teachers. So again, my name is Jason Hammond Garcia. I am the president and CEO and founder of the International Alliance Group. I grew up not far from here, up on a farm in Genesee County, Michigan, and graduated from Mount Morris High School. And so, as I mentioned, it's good to be back home. And a point of pride for me to be here is Dr. Tim Dyer, past mayor of Ypsilanti in years 68 through 70, was a mentor of mine. He also was a regent at the East Michigan University, and he's the reason I went to Arizona to go into teaching and to human resources, past president of the ASPA Association there, but Michigan has my heart involved. So again, we're International Alliance Group. We are bringing teachers to more than 30 states across the United States and from many different countries around the world. We are a United States Department of State board, or I should say Bridge USA approved program to sponsor J1 visas for the teacher category. Where am I supposed to point here? You just go ahead and go to the next slide. Thank you. As you can see, many of our states are listed here in the dark blue. We are everywhere from Alaska to Michigan to Florida to California, and many states in between. And we're working with more than 100 school districts in these states. And that's both in urban settings, rural settings, suburban settings. We're very grateful for our partnership with Dallas Creek Public Schools, Kalamazoo Public Schools, as well as Muskegon and Lansing Public Schools just joined us this year. And they've already heard today, have hired 6 teachers so far for the coming year. Looking forward to a cohort of possibly 12 to 15. And so what we utilize to bring international teachers is the J1 visa category. That is a non-immigrant visa that allows teachers to come for a period of 3 years, may be extended for an additional 2 years for a total of 5 years. And most of our teachers really want to stay for those 5 years. And so the districts are able to get a good return on their investment with those teachers. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, being in a district for 5 years, they're lasting longer than some of our domestic teachers. Just that teachers are visiting the USA to teach and study and research and showcase their special skills and participate in on-the-job training. So these teachers that are coming to you already have teaching experience. Many times they have advanced degrees, and they're coming with excellent English skills, but they're bringing their own experiences and their culture from their own country, as well as their own language, and to be able to share that with the community, in this case of Tulane. There are currently over 300,000 foreign teachers or visitors from more than 200 countries and territories that are visiting in all the different industries, including education in the U.S. So again, the J1 visa program is intended to be a cultural exchange program. It's not a pathway to citizenship. The teachers are coming for a limited period of time, from 3 to 5 years, because the idea is that their home countries are loaning them to us because they're expected to return home for at least 2 years to be able to share what they learned here in the U.S. and be able to help continue the development of their education system in their home country. Now, the expectation for school districts is that these teachers are to be employed as full-time teachers. Again, they are coming to us with education, with a background, a minimum of a bachelor's degree, a minimum of 2 years of teaching experience, again, a high level of English proficiency. They must have 3 letters of recommendation, including their first supervisor, a clear criminal history from the home country. They have to show financial means for being able to settle here in the United States, because believe it or not, it does cost money to move to a new country. We want to make sure that these teachers are getting set up for success. And they must attend a visa interview at the local U.S. consulate or embassy in their home country. Now, again, the benefits of these teachers is that they've been professionally prepared as educators. They're experienced, and they're providing cultural exposure and growth for your students and your staff. And you'll be able to hire teachers who may be more reflective of the population in your communities. Because when I started this work, I was head of human resources for the Downtown School District of Phoenix, Arizona. They were fantastic teachers. We never had enough, right? But we didn't have teachers that reflected our community. And so we began this work. We're going right across the border into Mexico here, into cities like Hermosillo, Mexico City, Mexicali, Tijuana, and now around the world, to bring teachers who reflect our students in our community. And we have, here is just an overview here of some of the needs that we have and how we're able to provide for those needs, because we don't just transplant a teacher from the home country. We make sure that these teachers have lots of front-loading and pre-service training that helps them crosswalk their experience and education in their home country for use in U.S. classrooms, and specifically in this case for use in Michigan classrooms here. So we make sure that they have that understanding, what's culturally appropriate. They have those acculturation. How do you discipline students? Because that's very cultural. What's acceptable in one country may not be acceptable in another. What's acceptable in one community may not be acceptable here. Okay, so to make sure they have that background, as well as we're making sure that they are having assistance with even securing their tickets to be able to fly here if they're flying, or if they're driving across the border. We want to make sure that they're having help where they're going to stay, getting picked up at the airport, and then where they're going to stay long term, and what is a long term transportation. There's all these nuances that you're also busy. I don't want to put this on Sue, for Pete's sake. We want to make sure that there is support for these teachers, because we want them to start strong. Starting strong is so important for these teachers. And then we also support those ongoing needs. It just doesn't end there. The teacher just arrived. We want to be there if they have to be at homesick, or if they need to know where to go to the doctor, how to use the insurance, whatever it may be. We are there to help support them, and not only the teachers, but to support the district. So no matter what is going on through those 3 to 5 years, we will be there to support both the district as well as the teacher throughout the entire period of time for their duration. I heard, I believe, Sue, you mentioned that the district is using PowerSchool. Is that right? Yes. PowerSchool? Well, so do we. So you're going to be ready because you're able to log into our portal. Currently, we have nearly 2,000 teachers who have been fully vetted, who are you're able to sort, and you're able to categorize for the position you want them to teach and the experience that they need. You're able to pull it up. You're able to review the documents, as well as Spark Hire, one-way interview system. embedded, so you're able to watch an interview of these teachers with pre-recorded interview questions, and then be able to set up and have your own interviews with these teachers. So the good thing is you're already familiar with this system. And again, you're able to see all the different documents from the letters of recommendation, their clear criminal background check, and their degree, their foreign credential evaluation, that is their transcripts that are evaluated and verified for authenticity and U.S. equivalency. And here is an example of a teacher having their one-way interview. We're able to see the questions, hear the responses. This helps you also hear their English proficiency, as well as you're looking for those markers of good teaching that you can see from these questions just at the start. So here you can see briefly is a timeline, because we do encourage districts to start early with the international teachers. The good news is Ypsilanti, you're right in the sweet spot right now by taking this agreement to the board in this potential partnership. You can see that we're ready for you to be able to immediately get in and begin to review the candidates, begin to make offers, in time for us to get training to the teachers in the preparation to help them resettle here in your community. All right. Very briefly, our fee structure is very simple. We base on 20% of the teacher's base salary for years 1 and 2, and then we go down to 16% for years 2 through 5. But there are wonderful ways that we built in to help districts save the cost, including the opportunity to have U.S. Department of State compliant insurance. There are ways that we're able to make this as cost neutral as possible for school districts. That is really, I wanted to keep this brief. The contact information, of course, you're always welcome to reach out to me, is President and CEO, again, Jason Hammond. But Dr. Abraham Jimenez is our Chief Strategy Officer, and he is the one who is definitely helping to make sure things are happening smoothly with our partner school district. I'm sure that you probably have some questions, and I'm more than happy to take those questions.
Any board questions? Yes, Trustee Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. My question is actually more for the superintendent, Ms. McCarthy. I know that we are always looking for teachers and we can't find enough. So I know that this is sort of a different sort of a thing, and I love the idea of international teachers. That's incredible. But does the union have a stance on this? And what is it?
On this, talking to them, seeing if they want to, have additional staffing, and right now, they don't want to be short-staffed either, because they're working in those short situations, as long as we don't pay, more than we pay our own. So far, we have not had any more. And with
EduStaff, we have to pay a percentage, about the same percent. So if we have to pay it's paying EduStaff the percentage or paying them the percentage. So we pay about 18% to EduStaff. So if we're paying a sub that's not going to be long term.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're having a conversation. We're paying the subs, as you heard, they want a sub, and we're ended up bringing in. They want more subs in their buildings, but we're like, we want to have somebody that we know that we can keep. And so that's the one positive piece, is that they're not going to replace. They know they're not going to be replaced, because you can't keep the person you're not keeping them long term. You're not putting them in their union. They're not replacing them, because that's part of their contract, is they're not here longer than 3 to 5 years. So you're never going to they're not here to replace your union person's job.
Gotcha.
These teachers are your employees, and they're able to, in a lot of places, they use elected teachers to join you. And they're able to do that. They're your employees.
Other board
So-
questions?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So you're saying in some places they are covered by the collective bargaining agreement, but what we're looking at here is something more similar to the EduStaff type model, where they'll be outside of the CBA, and I guess getting their insurance and some of the other benefits through IAG instead of through the collective bargaining agreement?
Then I have to direct you to the superintendent and to the resources, but that really is a district decision. You generally need to still follow your collective bargaining agreements, because these teachers are contracted employees, they're not our employees. We're just helping to sponsor them and to support the district and support the teachers. So they are to be paid the same as any other employee or teacher in your school district. Just the only difference is they can't be treated as a class of employees for the insurance purpose, because the Department of State requires specific insurance to care for these teachers, and it's an opportunity for some cost savings. For example, God forbid if someone should pass away when they're outside of the country, they have to have repatriation of remains. Or if they are severely sick, then there has to be medical evacuation insurance. So there's some nuances like that, but that is a local-based decision. It's just an option.
And I saw in your presentation that you highlighted that this can be useful. I wanted to say I'm excited to hear that our EL team is asking for this, and that carries a lot of weight. It's good to know that that this is being driven by our educators. I saw you highlighted that this can be useful for other difficult to fill positions like math and science. How does credentialing work here?
Excellent question. So teachers are expected to meet the certification requirements in every state where they're going to work. And so we're part of the vetting process and the hiring process is we have
All right.
Big concern of mine personally.
Yeah.
That's why we do this.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Other board questions?
I'm just looking at your breakdown, I know these are just for example, some big questions, but as far as,
Right.
that increase or because it looks like it stays the same from 1 to 5.
Well, it's just an example, yeah,
Right,
yes,
I
so,
know, I'm not looking at the amount. I'm
Sure,
looking-
sure.
Well, I am looking at the amount, I'm looking at the range. Figuring out how to do that.
yes, excellent question. So because they are your employee, they are subject to the same placement formula on your salary schedule. And then if you, as a board, are approving, increases for your teachers, they receive the same increase because again, they're your employee, they're on your contract.
Trustee Townsend, do you have a question?
I just wanted to piggyback on trustee or Vice President Lee's question, just, so basically, if I'm understanding, you all will provide corporate housing until they're able to pay. Is that,
Thank you. We, just to clarify, we do not provide housing. We work with the teacher and with low, relocation services to make sure that the teacher has a clear plan, that they have their tickets, that they have their reservation, they know where they're going to stay, they have their budget. We work with them. We're making sure that they are not gonna be on the street, they're not gonna be left at the airport, they're not gonna be hungry. We're making sure that they're taken care of.
and they have transportation and all that? Just, and the reason why it's a good question is just simply because we have a housing crisis here. And cost of living is already tight for our existing teachers. So this would be interesting to see how this would work.
Well, that's a good thing you have us because that's our job, to help make sure that you're absolutely, I'm so grateful that you are asking these questions and you have these concerns. And that's why we built this program, because it's so much for any district to do on their own. It's something that we have to do together as partners.
I just have one really quick question. Does IAG have partnerships with other school districts in the state of Michigan or other states? And could you share a little bit about those experiences and success rates of this type of partnership with school districts?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, we do have a partnership with Kalamazoo Public Schools, as well as we just signed on Lansing Public Schools. They're hiring their first cohort of teachers. Kalamazoo has had teachers for several years now. Battle Creek is coming on and is hiring a new group of teachers as well. So Michigan is one of our more recent states, but of course, a point of pride for me to be here in our home state. We have been operating though for 7 years in Arizona, where I am now, of course. So we have districts in the inner city, including Phoenix High School District, many of the elementary districts, different high school districts with Denver Public Schools, Hartford, Connecticut, another big inner city school on the East Coast. We have several counties in Florida, which is a county school system. So again, we're in more than 30 states, in more than 100 some school districts.
Okay.
We tend to retain our partnerships with our school districts, which we're very proud. Well, we do have a very high retention rate for our teachers.
Okay.
Of course, these teachers are highly motivated to come to the United States and to do their best. And we're also highly motivated to help them be successful. So we tend to retain our partners as well as we tend to retain our teachers. And we work very closely with our partners, and we're hoping to be able to work very closely here. So,
thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, Trustee Fields, who had their hand up? I only saw your hand. Go ahead, Trustee Gaisley.
Thank you. A couple questions. So I noticed the timeline started in the fall, and then you said you're in the perfect spot. It's spring. So I'm curious, is this something that, this is not for the upcoming school year, it's probably for the next school year? That would be when we would get placements.
it could be for this coming school year.
Okay.
The good thing is because we've already started, we started the recruitment process, back months ago. The teachers are ready. So now, once the district, because the reality is districts a lot of times don't know what your budget is until about we need contracts back to find out when it's returning, when it's not, what your student projections are, just like Sue's presentation was. So now is a good time, because you've done a lot of legwork already, so you're able to take advantage of this coming school year.
So I guess my question, and this is probably a question for Superintendent Zachary Ross and Ms. McCarty, when we are adding 20 or 16% on top of a current salary, you know, I know we asked and we mentioned talking to the unions, and I didn't dig into your cost sheet, but I could just see I could see a concern from an educator saying, okay, well, the salary this person's making is the same as me, but you spent an extra 20% to bring them in. So I'm curious how that part of the cost equation works out, and whether, you know, what the impact is on our budget of hiring some teachers this way.
Yeah, this will have to be like a last resort. It'd be like how we pay to retrain. It would be thinking about like that. It costs us so much money to replace a teacher over and over. And so when we pay for HMH, when we pay to retrain, it costs us way more to replace a teacher every single time. So that's what you have to think about. So we pay to have HMH come out, and we pay to retrain someone every time, like new teacher training, we pay. And I can add that up for you. Well, once we pay that and then have another teacher come in, all that money is what we would be thinking about.
I think
so.
Be valuable.
Yes,
to
we can
have
get
that added
yeah.
up and to have that so that we can show that to staff.
That's what we talk to the union about when we talk about this, because that's every year when we pay to retrain and that teacher we pay and that teacher leaves. That retraining is the cost. And so we don't want to, this is again, this is the last resort. Our goal, and while we had the teacher job fair, while we are doing the job fairs, is to fill all of our positions. Please, I'm glad you mentioned this, because our goal is to fill the positions we want. You know, typically if we can get, we've got Eastern here, you know, we can get the graduates, if we can get our student teachers, if we can get all the folks right now, we can have our local people. And why I started off talking about, we've been talking to our EL folks, because we've just been talking about our newcomer centers and some very specific people, like the Arabic population, that they really want their children to come here, but we've not been able to find people to teach this, and they're like, I want to come here. You know, they've been talking through the Jewish Center. They've been having the meeting about our newcomers, and you know, they're saying, oh my goodness, they've had such a good experience as the refugees have been coming, and like the numbers of families that are coming here. And I can just say Mary Ann is like, she sends us the notes from the meetings. They really want to come, but this is part of they want to be able to study. They're not doing their religious classes here, but they want to be able to study and at home. But so they have to have this type of teaching also in school. And so that's a part of where some of this is coming from, knowing that the language and even communicating with their families. And so that's part of the gap that we're not seeing, that we don't have a specific type of teacher that we're not finding that's coming just from our traditional colleges here. So those are the last resorts. I'm excited. We have 43 people at I thought it was 53, but 43 people come to the job fair. So this isn't like, oh, we just want to bring a slew of people coming from different countries. This would be last resort. And we do know in certain areas that we've had gaps as well, that as we've heard, our families have really come, they've said, with special education, even with our parent teacher program, if there are certain areas that they can help us, that across Michigan, we are not graduating fast enough. If there's people that they can help us, if the board approves, I'm not sure, if the board approves and they can find people. I have heard my colleagues in Lansing, in Battle Creek, in Kalamazoo, they've been finding, I've heard they've been finding success. And we have been going to colleges, we have been going to these job fairs, and we partnered with the WISD to hire for us even, and we still haven't filled in these certain areas. And so that's why we said at a last resort, if this is the last resort and they can find people, and if we partner with our union, I just want our student service.
So I guess in general, I love the idea of being able to bring international staff here. I think it provides just such an incredible value to our students. Even right now, my daughter's teacher is a citizen here, is here permanently as a teacher, but she grew up in India and brings a lot of that to the classroom. And it's just an amazing experience for my daughter. So I love having that opportunity here. I know part of the big sell for the district is this idea of longevity, and it sounds, you mentioned that teachers are highly motivated to stay 5 years. What's your track record on that? How long have you been doing this, and what's the average actual tenure that you've seen?
Good question. I don't have the up-to-date statistics, forgive me, I don't have that with me right now, but this will be our fourth school district, or fourth year, late for me, fourth year doing this. We have gone, if this testifies anything, we started with 75 teachers year one, 4 years ago. This next year will be pushing 1,000 teachers in North Dakota. And most of those teachers are still working. I don't have the specific statistics, I can get those for you, but we do have a high retention rate. That first year, we retained every single one of our teachers.
Other board questions?
This doesn't have to be answered tonight, but just some things that I'm looking at over the agreement. And I want to make sure that when we're, if this is the last resort to consider, is one, just making sure, because the contract is governing law and jurisdiction is based in Arizona. And we want to make sure that this contract, it falls in line with the state of Michigan in regards to what our teachers' rights are and things like that. So that's clear. The other thing is the host responsibilities. It talks about us assigning a qualified mentor. And that is something that may need to be a union question. I don't know, because a teacher would have to agree to that. And what does that look like? And whether or not that teacher wants to be compensated for that additional time. And then I just need clarity at some point in regards to number 8, agrees to seek assistance with taxation of exchange teachers from the host-owned resources. So you all can't provide tax information, but is this something, we don't provide tax information either?
No, that's correct. So if I may respond to those. So the first one is absolutely, we typically contract your local county, your state Washington. Number 2, that's a very informal relationship as a mentor. That's just really a buddy system. What we've seen as a best practice for the success of the international teachers is for especially the principal to buddy up that international teacher with a local teacher. Just an informal relationship. And that's not a requirement. The last question, do you remind me what the last?
It was in regards to agrees to seek assistance with the taxation of exchange teachers from the host.
Thank you, yes. So that just recognizes that we're not tax experts, neither is the school district, and that the teacher should be referred to find a tax expert for their own taxes.
We had this reviewed by our law firm, as well as True consideration in terms, before we brought it here, before you. And then the mentoring was, you know, Raymond's in here, we already have that in place. So program, and they are compensated as well for that in the contract, as well as the mentee gets compensated for their meeting with the mentor, and the mentor also gets paid for meeting with the mentee.
Go ahead, trustee Fields.
I'm looking at the health insurance. And for 7,000, what we, I gave you the estimates, I don't have the true numbers, but, so are you saying that, well, that should be our teachers and then 33, you guys provide insurance for, and that's still us providing?
Sure. Well, again, that's a decision that the district has to make. If you're going to put the teachers on your own district insurance plan.
And they don't the same as the method.
Right.
Okay.
Right, or if they're going to be treated as a class of teachers, you can choose to put them on our insurance that meets the Department of State requirements, and that's going to be a cost savings generally. I don't know how much per teacher the benefits cost, but I know that they're more than $3,300 per teacher. That's a decision that the administration will recommend.
Oh, okay, when they come in, you give them choices, so they want our insurance, or they want to do that.
Well, it would be one or the other. So the district would say either we're going to have all the international teachers on our Department of State compliant plan at lower cost, or we're going to just put all the teachers on our district policy. And so again, that's a decision, a local decision.
And I'm just curious because you know the guy teacher will be looking at. Wonder how they, that would look to them, how, if they are aware, you know, that was also something to talk.
It just is
not like that, they're paying, you know, the national teacher paying way less. Than what they're paying for insurance.
It's a good point, but it is a way that the district can recoup some of the offset some of the fees is through using our insurance. Because of we have very good insurance is through Blue Cross Blue Shield, but it is a way for the district to offset those costs.
Other board questions? Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, that takes us to public comments, our first one for this evening. Before I invite those members who have filled out public comment cards, I'll read the public comment protocol, which reads as follows. Pursuant to Board of Education Policy 0167.3, the board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express their views. Please limit statements to 3 minutes in duration. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. Remarks shall be made in a respectful and professional manner. Marissa Conniff, did I say your last name correctly?
It's
Conniff, I apologize.
Hello, thank you so much for being here. My name is Marissa. I'm here with my husband and another parent for my son's class. We're here to raise concerns about a student who has repeatedly shown violent behavior for my son and several other classmates throughout the school year. My son's name is Lawrence. He's 6 years old. He goes to Wise. He's in kindergarten. He's in Miss Anderson's class. He does have a medical diagnosis for autism. And he has endured repeated attacks from one particular student throughout the year. I think for sensitivity reasons, I will not say the student's name. The student behavior is very well documented, so I'm sure that you can get that information. So I've been reporting this student to my teacher, Miss Anderson, since December 19th, and I've been reporting the student to the principal since March 4th. I have over 8 documented attacks against my son alone. On December 19th, he was punched in the eye, which left a red mark. On January 10th, he was hit in the head with a binder. On May
May 2nd, he kicked my son in the eye while I was in the classroom volunteering, which was particularly disturbing to me as a parent, that not even my presence could protect my child from the student. While the teachers were trying to get the student escorted from the class, he attacked another student with kicking and punching. I do volunteer at the class on Thursdays, and I've seen with my own eyes the student punch, kick, slap, throw objects at students' head, put them in the head with lunch boxes. We're very involved with the parents at the school. We've heard of headbutting, kids being hurt, kids being punched, kicked, slapped. And again, I've seen this with my own eyes many times. And I will say again, to actually witness it, and as I've grown to care about these kids, getting to know them more, it's been very disturbing to watch them be attacked over and over again. There's also been verbal abuse from this student against my son as well, making fun of his pink water bottle, making fun of the way he looks, and saying he's like a bad kid to my son, which was really upsetting to him. So this has been an ongoing issue, not just for myself, other parents who say this kid's named other parents, and we all have the same reaction, because this is a problem we're all dealing with. Reaching out to Dr. Sharif, she informed me of her plan of immediate intervention, safe space, a buddy system, breaks, support for my son, and a multi-tiered system of support. So that plan was implemented in March. However, she said that it wasn't implemented through the specials, which was why my son was attacked. That's her reasoning for why he was attacked, because the attack took place in Spanish class. And so, from my understanding, the specials teachers haven't been informed of this. Dr. Sharif let me know that there was another attack that took place in science class. While I was comforting my son the day he was attacked while I was in class, one of the students was comforting him, sitting next to him, just being like, "Isn't he the meanest thing you've ever seen? Don't you remember when he slammed my back when I was protecting the drums in music classes?" So this is just ongoing. The students, when my son was attacked, all came around my son, and they were comforting him. Like, they all went into this mode that it was clear that this is something that they deal with regularly, because they all knew how to react. While I was comforted that my son was, shown support by his classmates, I find it just terrible that kindergarteners are learning how to do this. The bullying and aggressive behavior bylaws and policy says that the policy is to provide a safe space for a nurturing environment for students. It prohibits physical, written, and verbal and psychological abuse. The policy states that bullying and aggressive behavior can lead to expulsion. This morning, I saw a student return to school. The attack that I saw took place on Thursday. So I went into the school to ask Dr. Sharif what was being done to protect my son today, because the student was back today. She said that she cannot remove the student from school because he doesn't qualify as a bully, because he attacks multiple kids at random. She seemed unaware that the policy also includes aggressive behavior, because I referenced this policy. She said, well, he's not a bully, but the policy is in regards to bullying and aggressive behavior. And she said that, as I mentioned, that the strategies were not implemented in specials. My concerns, of course, are with the physical well-being of my child. He's had marks left on him when the student kicked him in the eye with a shoe print on his face. His emotional well-being, he's had trouble sleeping ever since the attack. He feels overwhelmed. He's nervous for school on a regular basis because of this student in particular. The long-term impacts of abuse have physical and mental higher rates of problems. I'm concerned for the other children, for the fear that they live in. I'm a starting to expect and accept a certain level of abuse at school. Not to mention the disruption in learning, and just their overall well-being. So I came here with my husband and another parent from the class who I believe did sign up who wants to share his thoughts as well. But we love WISE. We really wanted our son to go there. We've lived in Ypsilanti for 18 years. So it was our dream to put our kid in WISE. And other than this situation, we've been very pleased. But this is so intense that today I dropped my kid off at school, not feeling like he was in a safe place, and like maybe I wasn't doing the right thing by taking him to school there. And I'm sure many of you are parents, and especially in kindergarten.
Thank you for sharing your comments with the board this evening. This district takes all concerns very seriously. And please know that someone will be in touch with you to follow up on this matter. Thank you.
I didn't sign up. I just.
You can, yes.
Hi, I'm Max Kirkpatrick. I'm a. I just wanted to reiterate that this is an ongoing problem for many parents. I forget, sometimes I have to ask her. Sorry, did the school board do anything? Often the answer is, oh yeah, he did.
Of course. Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Alvarado.
Everyone, good evening. I'm just here because we are going to be doing a celebration next week, Wednesday, 15 p.m. And our birthday awards. I know Dr. Hawkins is familiar with that. It was an award show that started at Estabrook back in 2016. District-wide, and then we canceled it. COVID happened. So we're bringing it back, and we're very excited about it. And so our Grizzly Award for all the board members is set up like an Oscar-like celebration, and it honors, it's the celebration of YCS, and we give out Oscar-like statues in 9 different categories, and every occupation is divided into one of those 9 categories. So transportation member of the year, staff member of the year. So we encourage you and would like all of you to attend if you're able to. It's at Washington Community College at 6 p.m. The show starts, but red carpet is at 5 o'clock p.m. So if you want to walk the red carpet and get your picture taken, that is there, and it's a celebration for all staff. And if you could just let me know, and I'll get with Julie so I can make sure to see, especially if you plan on bringing somebody. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, that takes us to our consent agenda. Is there a motion at this time?
Two personnel matters as further presented this dated 5/1/24, new hires, reservations, and retention.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Schindler, support.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Schindler. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to our action item under business and finance, and that's the Washtenaw ISD budget resolution. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, this is trustee Goodrich. I move that the Board of Education adopt the WISD budget resolution.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Goodrich. Is there support for this motion?
Trustee Townsend, support.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Townsend. Any discussion on this item? Yes,
I did
trustee
have one
Paisley.
question, thank you. And I was, normally WISD comes and does their annual presentation, and so I was sort of expecting to have a representative, so we might pass this question on to them. I know that part of this is reauthorizing the special education millage, which is going to be on the November ballot. And I think it would be really valuable to have the information on how much of that special education funding that goes to the intermediate school district does come back to actually support our local district. I know that's a huge part of how we get reimbursed for special education, but I'd love to have those figures in front of me to be able to share with folks in advance of that millage.
So actually, the WASB had the full budget meeting, and that was done via Zoom. And that was sent out to all of the different school boards. And Mr. Marcel, who is the CEO, well, the financial person, director, you could ask those questions. So if there's specific questions that you may want, and I believe the information was shared with the districts. So that should be able to be sent back over to you. And if you have some specific questions, you can definitely ask those questions.
Thanks. Yeah, I saw that there were quite a few attachments, and I flipped through most of them, but I didn't particularly see that information, so I can pass that on to him. Although trustee Goodrich looks like she might have an answer.
I don't have the exact numbers, but I do believe that I'm.
Yeah, they did break it down by
You
districts.
did. Okay.
Yeah. But what I'll do is I'll go back through the report.
I was gonna say, I just ask him for his slides.
Yep.
That's all I- Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Any other board questions or comments?
It does say if we don't get it non-renewed, Ypsilanti would not get $3,845,234. I think that was based off of the 22-23 costs, so. Yeah, reduction of reimbursement.
Right. And there were some increases
Yep, that was.
with recent budget approvals too from the state.
Yeah, because that was one of the questions.
Any other board questions or comments? Seeing none. A motion was made by trustee trustee Goodrich, supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to the special education millage renewal resolution. Is there a motion at this time?
Trustee Townsend, move that the Board of Education adopt the special education millage renewal resolution.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Townsend. Is there a support for this motion?
Support. Vice President Lee.
Thank you. Supported by Vice President Lee. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, a motion was made by trustee Townsend, supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to the acceptance of the Ypsilanti Community High School new fan chiller, a change order from Train. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, trustee Schindler, I move that the Board of Education accept the change order from Train in the amount of $1,449,246 for the YCHS fan cooled chiller.
Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Schindler. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Goodrich.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Goodrich. Any questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, a motion was made by trustee Schindler, supported by trustee Goodrich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next, that takes us to the donation for the Ypsilanti Community Schools event series. Is there a motion at this time? Thank you. A motion has been made by trustee Fields. Is there support for this motion?
Support Vice President Lee.
Thank you. Supported by Vice President Lee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Thank you to Parta Credit Union for your generous donation.
Madam President, I
Yes.
just wanted to note that there's someone here representing Carter Credit Union in our audience. so
Oh.
thank you so much.
YCS, we also have practice sponsorship. So we are very interested in president and just want to, encourage financial literacy. We want to make sure that we are seen instead of just, throwing money. So, the goal is to be at almost every event.
Thank you.
And they
Thank
took
you.
over. This is the new financial institution that took
Yeah,
over
they're
TCF.
right
Yeah.
kitty corner to the high school, right across the street from the high school. Mhm.
We're actually doing lunch for teacher appreciation.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. I have on contacts and readers, and I still didn't see that your shirt's here. So, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your partnership and collaboration with our school district. Next, that takes us to another donation for Ypsilanti Community Schools Mental Health Awareness Fair. Is there a motion at this time?
Madam President, Vice President Lee, move that the Board of Education accept a donation from the Washtenaw County Mental Health Department, BLM Task Force, for $1,000 for the YCS Mental Health Awareness Fair.
Thank you. A motion has been made by Vice President Lee. Is there support for this motion?
Support trustee Townsend.
Thank you. Supported by trustee Townsend. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Thank you to the BLM Task Force for their $1,000 donation for the Ypsilanti Community Schools Mental Health Awareness Fair. Next, that takes us to our second public comment portion of the evening. Are there any cards that have come in? Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Haynes. That takes us now to our discussion. We are at item number 11, Board of Education Subcommittee Reports. Are there any subcommittee reports at this time?
Just have one from the Ypsilanti Community Schools Foundation. We made it through selections of scholarships. It's a blur to me, but we got them done. This summer, we will be working to revamp some things just so that we can get ahead of the game next year, and also to better assist our students with applying for scholarships. But I believe, I can't remember how many we did, but I know we participated in the most recent event that they had where they gave out all of the scholarships. But so far, I've made it through the first round on the committee. It's been a pleasure working with everyone. And I believe Dr. Zachary Ross will probably talk on this fundraiser as well, but they are getting the fundraiser information out for a save the date on Thursday, October 3rd of this year at the Freight House. They are trying to raise about $100,000. So we do have some traction on this. Information is on the front and back. You can also follow the foundation's Facebook page as well. So if you have some suggestions or ideas that you would like to have me share on the board's behalf, I will be more than happy to do so.
Thank you, trustee Townsend. Do you happen to have any rough estimates on how many scholarships students were awarded?
You guys gave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You all gave
Life is hard.
17 scholarships to 14 YCHS students. So you guys 17
Right.
overall, with 14
Yep.
specifically to YCHS.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
then,
That's awesome.
thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Fantastic. Any other subcommittee reports?
She said you're doing-
Communications.
Yeah, that's what I was doing, yeah, I got my notes from here.
Go ahead.
So we met with communications, no, yeah, they met with them, actually, and we had a review, and they've gone over what they've been doing with our teacher series. Looking at what we got in, Facebook, we got a couple radio ads, they're coming out. But we have some ads that are gonna be going out on the radio, promoting, yes, teachers, things like that. It was a good, review. We were able to look at that, and I'm glad I got an email about it, so, it looks like we're gonna be trying to get some stuff, reading, being able to have access to that, I think that's really important. Never were able to really read it every night, so I'm really happy to see that we had that opportunity this week, because I read in my apartment. So that's good, so we did have a good, feedback from Lambert, about what they're doing and what their plans are for upcoming and things like that, so I think we are going, things, they're being able to hear our name, they're putting out the smart teacher series, I've been watching those films, I see somebody different talking about what's going on and what they're doing and what they're offering. I think that's pretty much it, also,
The radio station is 97.9, it's already started in advertising. WJLB 97.9, 100.3, I don't know those call letters, and the other one was, different one. But, and then they're gonna ask about 92.3.
yeah, they're gonna add this.
With 97.9.
Okay.
Yard signs are coming.
Yep, thank you. I was gonna say, some of those with the yard signs, so we're gonna have to do it.
Nice.
Put those out, getting license out there and get our name out there and just be.
Forever.
Yes, so many things are coming up. Oh, and I had the opportunity to attend the Set Friday. It was so beautiful. Hats off to all our creative people, because they had it so beautiful in here. You would have never known that it was in the cafeteria at the middle school. I mean, with the one we moved to. And that's what they had, but it was so beautiful. She always does really good, but it was so beautiful in there. I'm like, oh my God. And the kids look so nice. They look like they were having the time of their life.
That's great.
Yeah, so interesting. So it was beautiful, but I just want to say that, they're still doing things, and it's also always good to see that. The kids were happy, they were doing their little things, having fun.
And that would be nice to be part of, I'm assuming that that's part of the push to kind of talk about all the great things that are happening at YCS. So communications and Lambert, I mean, that's a great event to highlight that, so I don't know if it is highlighted, but hopefully someone was there and can get that.
Oh, yeah. Somebody was there to highlight it.
Yes. Excellent.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. You knocked out a whole update, comment, and a subcommittee report at the same time. Appreciate that, Trustee
Yeah.
Fields.
And I did forget to mention, finance. It looks like everything is on track currently for, middle school, and, they're still on budget
For the move.
for the move.
Okay.
Yep, so those things are, still on track for the most part.
Okay. Thank you, trustees. Are there any other subcommittee reports that have not been shared?
The Head Start committee met. Mostly it's the same. Perry is completely staffed.
No,
No,
no, it's getting cold.
it's getting,
Period, yeah.
yeah, Perry is, right. It's
Yeah.
completely staffed. I left my notes.
It's okay. That's okay.
But, they had like celebrating each day, couple of days with, pajama day. It was food gathering day and, oh, I forgot.
I know, I was trying to pull that report up, just.
I know.
Let me help support, let me help support.
But, I know, but I'm not sure what's going on with Beatty. I know, the new principal over there is getting adjusted
Yeah.
Mhm.
and liking it. But, because, I think he ran the meeting though.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's all good. Everybody's doing wonderful.
All right.
That's what we're gonna put out there in the universe. It's good.
Okay, all right. And anything else you think of, you can just add it to the next meeting.
Right, it's good. All right.
Thank you, Vice President
Thank
Lee,
you.
and thank you, trustees. Did I miss anyone? All right, board superintendent comments, any comments from the board? Yes, trustee Schindler.
I just wanted to say thank you publicly to everyone who signed the card and sent good wishes when my dad passed away recently and contributed money. That was so thoughtful, and thank you all so much. It means so much to me to be part of this wonderful group. So thank you. Love you too.
Other board comments?
Yes, so from the, I did attend, we talked about the budget, the information is right in here, so I can give it to you. And we also had a great, professional development day, but it was also on the same day as the draft. But we held it down, but it was very informative. So, yeah, that was a good one. I attended the sneaker ball. It was really nice. They had excellent decorations. The kids enjoyed themselves. Great pizza and Faygo pop. That was wonderful. And then I also was able to attend the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners meeting, where it was they approved to do their thing, I guess, on their portion, so with Cheney. So that was good to see. And I look forward to attending the soiree and the other celebrations that's coming down the pipeline. But this year is almost over. Oh, HBCU Day, I attended that as well, and that was really good. We have over 400 students throughout this area attend. It was a sight to see. So again, YCS students did an excellent job. As always, they represented us well, and just excited for the end of the year.
Yes.
I just have a quick one. I just want to congratulate all of the YCS elementary students who took part in the Washtenaw Elementary Science Olympiad competition. We had such great turnout from our schools and really awesome work on the part of all the teachers and coaches who support that.
Other board comments? I just want to say congratulations to all of our student scholarship recipients, award winners. Congratulations to them and all the best in whatever their next steps are. And thank you for the Save the Date card. This is lovely. I love it. A lot is happening in May. So looking forward to all the great events that are coming up. Dr. Zachary Ross. Oh, you have something else? I mean, something.
I mean, I'm just gonna card on this, but I think that I don't see on there. Congratulations. I don't know. Only because I got eighth grade grandson, so I'm just like,
What date is it?
I would say, 31st. May
It's the 31st?
And I talked to Dr. yesterday, they tried to work with the date because they wanted it on the 4th of June, but you know, so they made it just before, and it said 4 o'clock in the afternoon this time, not during the day, like normally,
Yeah.
but they changed it, it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
On the 31st? Okay.
And they did that because they wanted to be able to have us come, you know, or whoever could come, but they did it later in the day for more parents and also for, they said board, so they made it later in the day as opposed to the morning like they normally have, you know?
Okay, May 31st at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
at the middle school.
You don't know, it's gonna be high school.
It's going to be at the high school. That's good information. Okay.
So that's only because I found out today, so.
Uh-huh.
it's gonna be high school.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you for sharing that.
I looked on here, I'm like, I don't see.
Okay.
So,
Got it. I have it written down.
all right,
Yes. All right, Dr. Zachary Ross.
all right. Well, happy Asian American Pacific Islander and Heritage Month. We always celebrate all the months and, Military Appreciation Month. I know we have people, thank you for that. And this is also the month of Brown versus the Board of Education landmark. And so I thought it's this Board of Education month that we ought to recognize that as well. And so happy Teacher Appreciation Week. We just talked about that. Our board members didn't say the fact that they were, yes, not only did we have 450 students, our students did wonderful from both ACE and YCHS, and our board members were there cheering on and clapping and welcoming our students bright and early, cheering on, as well as we had a board member facilitate a great session in Trustee Townsend. So thank you. We not only went, but participated and facilitated. Our board members were there at the CVIT and helped plan the community violence intervention team for the whole community. So thank you for being front. I think our board, we don't think about the fact that we're leading the way in our county. Today, we want to congratulate the CNA graduates. They had a small graduation ceremony this morning. And so we want to congratulate the CNA graduates this morning who graduated from that program. On the 8th, the Embracing Our Differences, we'll have that performance there. So hopefully people can come on out. And then in that same night, the University of Michigan at the Museum of Arts, our 3rd graders will be there having their writing displayed out. And so you saw all of our save the dates. So please come to all of these dates. I'm not gonna go and read all of these dates. So please come on out. But specifically the YCS Arts Extravaganza art exhibits, the musical performance and the creative movements. They said, if you really can't come to the Embracing Our Differences, come on out. And so we just are just thankful to all of our staff, all of the administrators, all of the teachers, all of the parents, or whomever you are, to have our students, our scholars, doing all of this amazing culmination activities. We just thank you for all of the hard work, because we've seen amazing projects and performances and getting ready for these ceremonies. We know it takes a lot of work to come up to these culminations and the commencements and all of this. So you are almost there. You're almost there to the end. And so we just thank you, scholars, and we thank you for all of your support. And just please keep pressing forward to the end. Don't give up now. Make it to the end, and we just appreciate you. And Board of Ed, I appreciate all of you, because you have been at all of the events. You've been there supporting or pushing or encouraging and showing up, and it takes everybody. And so we appreciate you. The big events are coming up soon. All of these commencement ceremonies. I think that's the biggest thing that we all look forward to this time of year. So thank you for all of your
your support. And I'm like you, trustee Townsend, I just can't wait to see them go across this stage. And that's our favorite time, just shaking their hands and seeing the smiles and hearing the parents and family members and neighbors cheer. I just can't wait. So we just can't wait to congratulate them all. It doesn't matter if they're the preschool, kindergartners, or the seniors. All of them. We just so proud of them all.
Yes. Anything else, Dr. Zachary?
That's it. Just use we got all these cards. We're just follow the cards.
Follow the card, follow the card. I failed to mention one thing, well, two things. One, there was an event, and the date is escaping me, but there was a Shirley Chisholm discussion, a movie event.
Yes, and you facilitated that.
Yes. I was on the panel. I just wanted to give a shout out to the amazing students who developed such thoughtful, critical questions to ask. They had viewed the film Shirley Chisholm, and then all the seniors were invited to come to the auditorium to have a discussion, and they had to come up with a list of questions, and there was a panel, and we answered those questions. We know we're in a consequential election season, and I was so impressed by all the students and how they facilitated and how they spearheaded and asked really thoughtful questions about the importance of voting and voting rights and what's at stake. So I just want to give a shout out to the students because they did a phenomenal job. And then I just want to give a quick, a personal liberty to give a shout out to my daughter who graduated on Saturday. And we have been in graduation ceremony after ceremony Thursday and Saturday, and so it's been a lot. And my son graduates on the 22nd. So I just said all that to say that I just have been sitting here reflecting and thinking that they started at Perry, and they went to Estabrook, and then they went to Wyman Y High, and to have a whole college graduate, my heart is very full.
You should.
Yes, I'm very proud. Very proud. So yes. If there is nothing else from the board or the superintendent, the time is 8:55 and we are adjourned.